Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to do a creator request, which is where a smaller band gets in contact with me and asks me for their music to be checked out. I got an email from Sinusoidal Music, which is actually a promotion company run by somebody we've had on the channel through the creator request process before, which I thought was pretty cool. Said, I'm here with an interesting track for you, which you may enjoy reviewing. It's from an Indian brutal death metal band called Gutslit. They released their new single, Altar of Putridity. They're releasing a new album in July, and this can help with their promotion as well. Wouldn't you know it, that new album in July launches today. If you enjoy what you're about to hear, or I suppose after it, if you enjoy what you've heard, as usual, I'll have links in the description with all of the platforms that they're streaming on. Just pick the one that you have access to and check it out. Real easy there. Let's dive into this one. We got some Gutslit. What a Altar of Putridity. Just a lot of gnarliness. Let's dive into this. Very full sounds. Just sitting around that whole note. I like the layering on the vocals there. A ton of intensity, very brutal sounds. Just rapid fire too, constantly finding something new. A little bit of a tempo shift there. Tempo shifts back up. Well, not my usual cup of tea, but exceptionally well done for what they're aiming for. I mean, it's extreme, it's brutal, it is death metal for sure. Uh, I will say though, the thing that sticks out to me the most is just the sheer variety here. It's a 4 minute track with some 7 sections in it. I mean, that's quite a bit for such a short track. And each of those sections had unique components to it, sometimes even divided in half, where the first half of the section is one concept and the other half is another one. Usually some sort of variation on the idea, but different. Variation, variety. It allows the song to basically do the one thing it does constantly, which is just that heavy, driving, gnarly, weighty guitar riffage with the extreme drumming on the back end and the bass just filling out the low end and having these growls on top. I mean, that perfectly describes every aspect of this track, and they don't deviate from that, but there's enough changes between each of these sections to feel different. And it's the little changes. It really is. Even within a section, if the guitars are constantly playing on this low end, like at the beginning, just kind of hovering around that note, usually by the last quarter of the phrase, they'll go up. They'll hit something higher, even if it's just kind of noise. It's kind of finding some staticky sound at the high end. They'll play that just to change up the feel of it. The drum groove is consistently being changed. I feel like every 8 bars we do a completely different idea. The vocals are consistently changing. There's like 6 or 7 different types of harshes this vocalist uses, and it feels like every sentence the vocalist needs to change it up. And so it keeps the song pressing forward. It does one thing, which would uh, typically get a bit boring after a few minutes of just doing the one thing, and they find ways to keep it spicy, changing it up all the time. And honestly, it's that variety that, at least to me, feels the most distinctive here. Um, we've listened to quite a bit of this more extreme death metal on the channel, and usually my complaint with it, since it's not my style of music, is that the repetition tends to get to me, and this band didn't allow repetition in the door at all. Just stopping it, like, no repetition here. We're gonna change it up all the time. And I don't know if that is necessarily a good or a bad thing, but I think it works for what they're doing, and it worked for me. Uh, the heaviness, the weight of it all, just the gnarly sound coming out of any moment here is, it never really grated on me because there's always something different to listen to. And through that, we also have a variety. Not through that, but another way that we have variety is time and tempo. There are a couple of places where we have these very gentle tempo shifts up and down, just a hair bit faster, hair bit slower. But what really helps amplify this is the time feel shifts as well, where we will go from pure 16th notes to quarter notes to triplets, so that even if the tempo stays the same, the rhythmic component doesn't. And it allows the song to feel like it's speeding up and slowing down and stretching and squashing all throughout. It's just a really great way to go about crafting a song that feels fresh in every moment, despite not really changing the foundational components of how you're making the music. It is definitely fresh all the time. And the brutality of it. They came in the gates swinging, and the song is just consistently heavy and aggressive to the ears, whether it is the double bass kicks, the heavy snare work, the constant guitaring, the heavy guitar tones, the aggressive dissonant dyads that they have, and the vocal stuff, which I think is really on the surface, and I think it's what a lot of people are going to hear first. Every bit of this oozes just this disgusting brutality. For a song called Altar of Putridity, I think that they have a sound that perfectly encapsulates that. Putrid is maybe not necessarily the first word I would think of here. Definitely, brutal and heavy, but putrid is definitely a good word for it, especially when you focus on some of the vocal sounds that come out of this and the production that's put on all of that to help it feel just massive. I even mentioned that right off the bat, that this is a huge sound. Maybe that's just because I'm coming off of Beyonce, a really big shift from that to this, but yeah, it just completely filled the sound sphere. There wasn't an inch of room left to put anything else in this mix. It just dominates it. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it. There's a lot of variety, there's some neat time stuff, and it is just a brutal track. I mean, if they were aiming for some of the most extreme metal that at least I've heard, I think they nailed it. Then dive into some lyrics and we'll wrap this up. Lyrically, it seems to be about a song of somebody who is so enthralled with corpses, they wish to make an altar of them. And so that's what they do out of curiosity, uh, a dark urge. There is a slaughter that happens. And they make an altar to their victims, or I guess more specifically, an altar of their victims. It's it's definitely death metal in the vein of that hyper extreme, edgy kind of topics. I don't know. They're not what I typically like to listen to, and I've given my piece on this in the past. I'm not going to put it in here as well. Unless I'm missing something, that's all that the lyrics are about. It opens, it says, I walk past the lines of grim depression, a fantasy to behold, a morbid compassion to withhold. Sliver of remorse flowing through my veins, easing up to the moment, one step closer to create my altar of putridity. I mean, it's just not. I don't know. It's like that. Let's just wrap this up. I'm not gonna get into it. It's not my cup of tea. We'll just finish on that. It is what it is. Those are my thoughts on Gutslit's Altar of Putridity. Normally I would put my links in the description, but as usual for creator request, we're going to put Gutslit's in there. You'll be able to find their social medias, their streaming platforms, website merch, anything I can find I'll put in there. Like I said earlier, if you enjoyed what you heard, check them out. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, wherever I can find their stuff. Just click the link that you use and check it out. Above that description box, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you head over to any of their stuff, like, subscribe, ring the bell, hearts, thumbs up, whatever. Show them some love from Critical Reactions. That wraps it up for this one. We have another creator request coming up next. I am very much looking forward to. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.